Hi, welcome to Street Priest Ministries. I'm your host, Brother Jay. We're taking the Gospels back to the streets. Today's drive-through message is, relax, God's in control, God's despots. We're going to deal today with God's control over the kingdoms of this world. So many of us panic and are frantic about what's going on in the world today, with all the different nations and the factions. There's warfare going on now for the souls of men between the globalists and patriots worldwide. And it's more of a battle that's taking place in the heavens because God is dealing with corruption in the world, actually. And he's cleaning house. And he's using men like President Trump as his golden broom to do so. So we're going to cover God's in control of these kingdoms on earth. Go to Isaiah 3. We'll start there. I'm going to do some little cherry picking, not much. So we'll go to Isaiah 3. God's in control. One of my favorite sayings. I used to have a cap. It said, relax, God's in control. It used to remind me because, situations happen. You get blindsided with things of life, and sometimes you forget. That's why I had that hat to remind me. He's in control of our lives too, you and I. Those of us that he's called and chosen. So we can relax. Isaiah chapter 3. For behold the Lord of hosts. Every time God uses that name, that means he's bossing up. He's letting you know, Jehovah Sabbath, I'm the Lord of everything. I run this earth. Everybody answers to me, including the devil. Everybody. The devil couldn't touch a hair on Job's head without getting permission from God. The demons tremble. The only one that really hasn't got it because there's a veil is men. Some men get it, like those of us that serve in God, we get it. But the majority of the world thinks they're in control and don't realize God's the big G. God's the big boss, the head honcho. Everybody else understands that, including Satan. All he is a deceiver. For behold, the Lord of hosts, doth take away from Jerusalem and from Judah the stay and the staff. God said, I'm going to remove your power. God sets up kingdoms. Now he's dealing with his own people here. They were kingdoms too. So he's letting them know he had to let them know who the boss was. Because they got presumptuous and took him for granted. Because he chose them as his oracle people. They abused their privilege. So he said, I'll show you, I control. And they start relying on earthly kingdoms like Egypt. Alliances with Egypt and Assyrians, kingdoms like that. And God said, I'll show you something. Take away your staff, your power. For behold, the Lord of hosts, doth take away from Jerusalem and from Judah the stay and his staff, the whole stay of bread and the whole of water. God brings about famine. God brings about drought. He got many ways to control these kingdoms of earth. I'm just using Israel as an example. The mighty man and the man of war, the judge, and the prophet, and the prudent, and the ancient, the captain of 50, and the honorable man, and the counselor, and the cunning artificer, and the eloquent orator. And I will give children to their princes, and babes shall rule over them. One of the signs of a fallen kingdom is kids running the kingdom, child king. And the people shall be oppressed, every one by another, and every one by his neighbor. The child shall behave himself proudly against the ancient rebellion. That's what we had running in this rampant. Excuse me, that's what we had running rampant in this land. Teenage rebellion. They did a study with elephants. They took the male bull elephants out the equation. The teenage elephants acted up just like human teenagers would. Got into all kind of mischief. That's the breakdown of the family structure. That's what had took place in this nation for decades. Part of an experiment with the evil dark forces that be. To set it up, of course. But their evil agenda. But the point is, God was taking out the homes. Fathers taking out homes. And you had teenagers running around. No direction. And now it's produced a society of entitled little brats running around, thinking everyone and everybody owes them something. Because they didn't have no structure. That's what happens when you have no structure. That's what God's saying here. This is what he's going to cause for this nation. The child shall behave himself proudly against the ancient, and the base against the honorable. When a man shall take hold of his brother of the house of his father, saying, Thou hast clothing, be thou our ruler. And let this ruin be under thy hand. In that day shall he swear, saying, I shall not be an healer. For in my house is neither bread nor clothing. Make me not a ruler of the people. For Jerusalem is ruined, and Judah is fallen, because their tongue and their doings are against the Lord, to provoke the eyes of his glory. The show of their countenance doth witness against him, and they declare their sin as solemn. They hide it not. Woe unto their soul, for they have rewarded evil unto themselves. God saying, you go against me, you reward evil to yourself. Now, I'll just use them as our kaleidoscope into the nations of the world that's doing the same thing. Turned their back on God. That's got all these plagues in their nations we just read about. Nature abhors a back. If God isn't going to feel it, the devil certainly going to raise his hand and rush his crew in there to feel it. Now, we're going to go to Daniel 2:20. Daniel 2:20. God's in control. We can relax. Around the world, we got situations brewing now, and natural catastrophes. God's in control. Don't fret. Those of us that are in here. And he's controlling these evil men around the world. That's what we read here. He sets these kingdoms up. You see what happened to Fat Boy over in his country. Daniel 4:17. Oh, excuse me. What did I say? I said Daniel 2:20. Daniel 2:20. If God wouldn't control, this earth would have been over a long time ago. That's a fact. Daniel answered and said, Blessed be the name of God. Now, God has set Nebuchadnezzar up, ruler of Babylon. He was a despot. That's why we titled this, God's Despot. God said, I call him. It's my despot. But just like a wild dog that might get out of, or a semi-wild dog, that might get out of control, God had to put him on a choker chain and restrain him and let him know I'm the boss. I run this earth. That's what we're reading about here in Daniel. And he was an absolute despot. Ruthless killer, ruled. God used him to wipe his own people out and carry them off into captivity for 70 years. God's in control. He even uses the wicked, unbeknownst to them, for whatever he has planned. He uses them as part of his plan. Daniel answered and said, Blessed be the name of God forever and ever. Now, he just had a dream, and Daniel's here to interpret the dream. I get my teaching. I done taught on Daniel several times, so look it up. Daniel answered and said, Blessed be the name of God forever and ever, for wisdom and might are his. And he changes the times and the seasons. God's in control of everything. Summer, winter, fall, spring. And he changes the times and the seasons. He removeth kings. Did you get that? God sets up kings, puts kings down. He removeth kings and setteth up kings. He giveth wisdom unto the wise, and understanding to them that know understanding. He revealeth the deep and secret things. He knoweth what is in darkness, and the light dwelleth with him. There's nothing hid from God. Nothing. He is in control. Like I said, one day he'll pull the veil back from history. And time will be no more. And he's going to let this world know who the boss is. And he smash his fist into it. Daniel 4:17. This matter is by a decree. We had Daniel 4:17. This matter is by a decree of the watchers. Now, Nebuchadnezzar got uplifted in pride and got to saying I, which I call the I factor. When you hear someone running around saying I, me, you've been bit by the I factor. And that's a symbol of pride. That's what Satan said. I will do this, I will do that. We'll read that later. It's the I factor. But he ran around my kingdom. I forgot about God. God told him, I set you up, man. I gave you this kingdom. You ain't running nothing except I'll allow you to. So God's got to knock him down a few pegs. And that's what we're about to read here. These are the watcher angels that's letting him know. God's got to check you. You got to get your ego in check. This matter is by decree of the watchers, and the demand by the word of the Holy One, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men. Did you catch that? Read that again. That the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men. God's the boss. He said the earth is mine and the fullness thereof. Cattle on 1,000 hills belong to me. God's the only one that can boss up and say, mine, mine, mine. I. He's God. It costs to be boss. That the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will. Like I told you, God sets up kings, that we just read earlier, and takes them down. In Daniel 2. And he set it up over it the basis of men. That's why we got this title, God's Despots. Base men, depraved men, the Hitler types. Absolute demon-possessed evil rulers. And God controls these demon-possessed evil rulers just like God controls the monsters he created. Or get my teaching on God's monsters. Jonah. I think it's called titled Jonah and the Whale, God's Monsters. So that's close. So look that up. God made monsters running through the earth. And he controls them too. Dragons, everything. Flying dragons, breathe fire. Yes, they're real. God controls them. Leviathan, plenty of record of monsters recorded in the Bible. Get my teaching on. God controls, and he controls human monsters too. These men are monsters, these dictators, these rulers. Do you know how many absolute despots that try to make a name for being such killers and ruthless? The list goes on and on. Alexander the Great, Julius Caesar, Caligula. I mean, we could go on. Nero, Genghis Khan. I'm just trying to pull them off the top of my head. People that are known for fame for being ruthless, cold-blooded killers throughout history. What's the name? The one that Dracula's based on. It was a real Count Dracula. I'm trying to think of his name. I'm drawing a blank on his real name. But the serpent seed and a lot of the so-called blue bloods claim him as part of their lineage. Why can I draw? I'm drawing a blank on his real name. Name of Count Dracula. He really lived. But I know his name was Dracula Impaled. He loved to stick his enemies on him, impale them on spears. And there was hundreds of thousands of them in rows impaled on spears. It's true history. It's where he got the name of vampire. Because he literally drank blood and bathed in blood. He loved blood. Napoleon. You had Pol Pot. You had Mao Zedong. You had Stalin. You had Adolf Hitler. I mean, just think of all these ruthless, draconian, evil despots that's ruled the world. I only named a handful. You can go on and on with it. Mass killing. I think Pol Pot killed, what's, millions, 60 million? Mao Zedong, these people are in the millions. Lenin, all these guys. Evil. Evil, evil men. Despots. God said, I set them up to rule his earth. And it's because of the fall of man that we got these despots. Satan was handed the keys thanks to Adam and Eve, our forefather and mother. And Satan is the ruler behind the throne of these evil men. Evil men sell their soul for power. And they working for Satan. That's what he is. Steal, kill, and destroy. That's what Satan does. And all these kingdoms got these men, or most of them are demon possessed. The prince demon that rule these kingdoms. The same with this one we read in here. You have a demon in here, a prince demon in here. The matter by decree of the watchers, God's angels, and demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and set it up at the basis of men, set up despots. So he tells Nebuchadnezzar, this is a fact in history. Matter of fact, It's written in their records, the Babylonian records, that it was a period that he went insane for 7 years. And God said he turned him into a beast. He's a beast anyway. It's a beast kingdom. But God turned him into a real beast. And he became insane and went out there and was eating with the beast in the field, grazing grass for 7 years. Because this was his punishment. He was a beast man. And then God brought him back and returned his sanity. And he humbled himself and bowed down. And God realized he's just an ant looking up to an elephant. God's in control. Relax. Relax, God's in control. Talking about God's despot. All right, moving on. Now, we're going to go to Isaiah 14:9. Isaiah 14:9. Now, I've taught on this book several times, different ways. And you can get to teaching. One, it's take a look at Lucifer. This is the guy behind the basis of being. This is the guy behind the despots that's really ruling this earth. God calls him in the Bible the little g, the God of this world. God's granted him the power to do his thing too. His clock's about almost ran out. He's got very little sand in the hourglass left for old Mr. Lucifer. The clock's winding down fast for him, and he knows he don't have a lot of time. So he's trying to grab and get as many in the hell as he can. But that's what he does. He deceives. We're about to read it here. All right, Isaiah 9. Hell from beneath is moved for thee, to meet thee at thy coming. It stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. It hath raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. All they shall speak, and say unto thee, Art thou also become weak as we? See, he deceived, thinking he had equal power, dualism, with God. No. He's a created being. It's only one God. And his Son, Christ. And the Holy Spirit. Three is one, the Trinity. One God. And God the Father is the boss. So these kings that sold their souls are pissed off, saying, you just as weak as us. You in hell with us. Hear that, all you dummies out there that's listening to me, that's witches and warlocks following Satan right there? I know you watch. This is your master's end right here. And Revelations 20 talks about it too. All they shall speak and say unto thee, Art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy violins. The worm is spread underneath thee, and the worms shall cover thee. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? So the world's worshiping right now, especially Hollywood. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? Kept the nations at war at each other's throat, killing, bloodshed, famine, catastrophes of every time, disease, pestilence. That's what Satan does. Kills, steals, and destroys. He's doing his job. He was doing it well. For thousands of years, he's done his job faithfully. For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit up also on the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. It's the essence of sin, wanting to be God. That's why Adam and Eve fell. Vanity. Pride. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. And all those that follow Satan are going to be brought down to hell and sides of the pit too. Relax, God's in control over these despots you see around the world. Everybody answers to God. We just read it. An example of it right there. So put your faith in God. Relax, God is in control. All evil men in this earth, all despots. There's events coming up in the world. Don't be shaken. Don't let your faith be shaken. Either by natural catastrophes or by any other bad news you might hear. God's in control. And right now, God is doing the work in this nation that He's called this God-blessed nation. Isaiah 18, get my teaching on it. God called this nation. This nation is the apples of God's eye, in spite of what the false prophets were teaching, that this is Babylon. No, it's not. It's not Babylon. I'll straighten their false teaching out. I'll get around. Matter of fact, I've taught on the real Babylon. The real symbol that's used of Babylon. And it's definitely not America. God called this nation. This nation has blessed nations around the world with the gospel, with the good news of Christ. Produced more Bibles on earth than any other nation. This nation in Israel, the nation of Israel, is the apple of God's eye. Don't be deceived. Now, you've had some evil men that has hijacked both nations. And God's dealing with that right now. The evil dark forces that be. But both these nations are called of God. And He's not going to let go of these nations. And He's going to use these nations right up to the end time to fulfill His purpose and to get His gospel, His good news out to a dark, despondent, and depraved world. So put your faith in God's hand. Relax. He's in control. Now, if I'm the one that's been teaching you, give. Go to streetpriestministry.org, hit that donate button. Good day. And bring your tithes, first fruits, and alabaster box to Street Priest. Good day, good evening, good night to you. May you go in faith in Jesus' name.